Wow, just think, no property taxes in Florida. Can it happen? It's not a reality yet, but there's more momentum going. Hey, this isn't new. This has been going on for 8 years trying to get this through. I'm going to talk about that some more tonight. But first, let's look at this market here in Jacksonville. I ain't wearing my jacket today, but it chilled up a little bit, kind of like the housing market. But where'd those numbers go? We saw an increase last week. Did they continue to go up? And what about those interest rates? What are they doing? Hey, you know what? My name's Tom Kerr. I'm just a regular guy. I happen to be a real estate agent up here in the Jacksonville metro area of North Florida. And I bring you every week into the back end of my MLS account where I show you the real numbers in real estate. And this is what I take a look at. We're going to look at those active listings you see here, and that is your inventory. We're going to see how many went active under contract, how many went pending in the last 7 days, how many were sold in the last 7 days, and then we also take a look at that new home sales data, see what their inventory is and how many they sold. Okay, when I run the reports in the MLS there, I export it and it comes out into an Excel spreadsheet that looks something like this, okay, which is a little jumbled, hard to read. So I clean it up into a spreadsheet that looks like this, where it's easy to look at last week's numbers, last year's numbers, and the previous week's numbers, okay? And I make this Excel sheet that I use on the show downloadable from the description of this video. There is a link to that. All right, so while all those numbers are crunching out, let's see what those rates did this week. All right, here we're going to take a look at the rates, and on all these charts, we all start off at the bottom right here where we left off last week. We were at 6.96. This column over here shows how the rates went up or down. A lot of green arrows down. Okay, so we are heading in the right direction. Up here at the top is where we're at now at 6.79. So we got a pretty good drop from 6.96 to 6.79. Okay, FHA rates are generally less, and we see we left off at 6.32 last week and ended up at 6.15, and the arrows follow the same trend as the conventional. Here we look at the VA, which follows along with the FHA pretty close. So we were at 6.35 last week, and we ended up at 6.17, and the arrows also followed in line with all the other charts. All right, well, it looks like we're still in the sixes. That's a good thing. Okay, is the trend down? Is it stuck here? How long will it be stuck here? Is it going to go up? We look at it every week, but right now, okay, this is better than it's been the last couple of weeks. All right, so right now, let's get to those Excel spreadsheets. Okay, here we are into my Excel sheets where I've taken all that data and put it into an easier to read format. Again, for those that are new to this show, this yellow column right here is our current week. These other yellow columns are the previous 2 weeks. So we can compare those weeks side by side and see the trend. Also, the column on the right, the white, it shows last year's at this time. So it's easy to see where we were at last year to this year right there. YOY is the percentage of change between last year and this year. SFH is the single family home, since that is the largest sector of all this. I pull those out separately and you can look at those. Also, this spreadsheet goes all the way back to when I started the show. And if you would like to see all the data, this spreadsheet is downloadable in the comment section of this video, and there will be a link to it. And then after this one, then I'm going to do the condo one also. So let's get started with this week's numbers. And as we can see, this column here, I forgot to say, shows what all the rows are: active, sold, under contract, and so forth. So the first one here is active, and that is our inventory, and it is 10,025. So we see the inventory is going up. Okay, sold 496. Sold has been creeping up, and this was actually a better jump than I thought. Inventory's up and sales are up. Okay, go figure. Active under contract 1293. That number is up. Pending. Okay, active under contract. First, let me explain. Those are when they go under contract and they have contingencies, okay? Contingencies on like appraisals, inspections, financing, things like that. Once those contingencies pass, the agent is supposed to put it into pending status, and that's your next step before closing, but not all pendings close, and we know that. So how many went pending in the last week? 429. That number is up. Total under contract has soared to 1722, okay? And that may generate into an increase in sales as we go along. Those that withdrew their listings, okay, now these are still active listings, but they can't be shown. A lot of times people have been sick, or they're working at home, things like that, or they got to deal with things with pets, you know, to get them taken care of. So they don't want the house shown, but they don't want to take it off the market, okay? So 70 of those are with withdrawal status. Expired, now these are the ones that did not sell and went off the market. And we see we were at 118, about the same as last week. New homes sold soared to 168 from the past 2 weeks. Look at that. Before we were at 70, 100, now 168. Those are up. New homes active listings, 2352. So I was surprised to see this. Home sales went up, and even the listings went up, so there's more. And this is a dramatic change. Right here in the orange is where I put the percentage of homes sold that are new. Look at this jump. 1/3 of all homes sold were new construction homes, okay? Look at the previous weeks where we were about 1/5 to 1/3. That's incredible, and it may have to do with a couple of things. One, the builders are cutting some prices. They're giving incentives. They're doing these, you know, rate buy downs. Also, insurance. The new homes, you can get insurance. You don't have a problem. And a lot of times it's cheaper. And I know this for a fact because I know people that have bought new homes and then they showed me their insurance. It doesn't mean the insurance rate won't go up some, but initially get in. I've seen their statements. They've shown me they are lower than some of these used homes. Okay. So how did people pay for these homes? 1/4 paid with cash. Okay, conventional was over 1/3. FHA, we see there at about 1/5 of them did. VAs, okay, came in just under 15%, and others jumped again to 3.23. Now these numbers right below that are the actual units that sold in those categories. So you see, for instance, 122 units sold for cash. Next, we take a look at the foreclosure numbers. Now, these are the ones that are active listings that are statused as foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, and short sales, okay? They don't represent the total foreclosures in Northeast Florida. All right, so we see 127 foreclosures, 21 pre-foreclosures, 50 short sales, total of 198. We dropped 1. Next, I take a look and see the percentage of homes that sold under list, at list, and above list. And here we see we still have a high number. Here, almost 73% sold under list, 15% sold at list, and I'm surprised this higher number above list. But again, you know, if you're new to the show, you haven't heard me say this, but a lot of these above list things are people pushing the price up to get compensations or concessions to pay for closing costs, including real estate fees, okay, under this new program that buyers are under now. Homes that sold under list, 361 units sold at, and the numbers there for the rest of them. Next, I look at the price categories of those that sold for $500,000, that's $500,000 and above, $400,000 range, the 300s, 200s, and below 200. 1/4 of all homes sold above $500,000. Okay, homes that sold in the 400s, almost 15%. Homes that sold in the 300s, okay, it's competing with the 200s. Look at that, neck and neck, almost 24%. And homes that sold below 200 at 12.7. Okay, for the longest time, that sweet spot there was the 300s, but that 200 range is getting there. And I tell you what, more people are gravitating towards those townhomes when it comes to, you know, regular construction and not manufactured homes. Although you got a lot of manufactured homes that are in that 200 range. Again, the numbers below represent the amount of units sold at those particular categories. All right, here we look at the new homes numbers with the same format. Homes that sold under list, okay, almost, you know, 68.5%. Homes that sold at list, just under 18%. And homes that sold above list, okay, just over 13.5%. I'm always surprised at the ones that sold above list. And again, it would have to be dissected more into like where they're at, the place, and okay. If they're an area that has, like, say, you know, maybe no more models of that particular being produced, so it gets a higher price. Again, below the numbers are the actual units sold. Okay, here is where I go into the median price sold and median price per square foot of the sold units. Now, what makes my show so unique is I do this weekly. Most data you're going to find is a monthly chart on median prices, and that median price comes out 2 weeks to 3 weeks, the data after the close of the month. With mine, we get it weekly, and if you want to make it a monthly thing, then download this Excel sheet and then look at the rest of the weeks. Here you can briefly see right here where we're at. Single family homes this week were $387, $247 for your median price, $206 a square foot. Townhomes came in at $270, $990 for the home, $193 a square foot. $270 is what the condos went for at $210 a square foot, and then you can compare those with the last couple weeks right there. All right, this is where I take the Excel data, I clean up all the other stuff around it and just dissect onto the section here where we're showing the difference between the sold price and the list price. Now this is the original list price. That's what this difference, not the list price. That list price you see is what they lowered it to after the original list price. But we run the difference based on the original list price and the selling price. Over here in the first column tells what it was, single family or condominiums, townhomes. They'll say mobile homes, but pretty much they're manufactured homes. Original list price, closed price, the difference. Buyer financing showed how they paid for that house and the days on the market. So look at that one there, the first one that sold for over $1 million below list price. Of course, it was started out at over $7 million. On the market, 210 days. And I'm going to scroll this down. And then that way you can stop this video anytime you want if you see something you want to take a look at. But as you can see these numbers, look at those, a lot of those numbers, you know, in the 40s, 50s, and then take a notice of those days on the market. I mean, when we're getting to where they're selling below the list price like this, there's quite a few of them that are on the market for some time. So as we get down in this, we'll get to the zero. And when we get to the zero, that is going to be where it was sold at list price. And here we are. And then look at the difference, okay? When we're at list price, those days on the market is a lot less than what we were seeing for those others. I mean, there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, the numbers are lower. Now when we get down to the ones that went above list, see where it's not a lot above list, okay? And these could easily be for concessions. Now, when you start getting up there, you know, 10,000 and above, a lot of those could be like multiple offer situations or something else. And every week, okay, we've got our clown of the week that input this data wrong right at the bottom. Here we go. Again, original list price, $376,990. List price $376,990, but they sold it for $2 million. Well, no, that didn't happen. That is an agent that didn't put the information into the MLS correctly. I did a little further deep analysis on this, and it ended up selling at list price. So when I did my other numbers, I compensated for that. All right, this next thing here, we're looking at this map here, this is where I look at a zip code and I take out what's for sale and what's sold. Okay, right now you're looking at what is for sale in this zip code, and the zip code is 32218. It's a pretty large zip code, so there is a lot there for sale. And then I also look at what's sold in the last week. So when you look at what's sold, boy, that really narrows down, right? Those dots go away. There wasn't a lot of sales compared to how many are listed for sale in the zip code. All right, so right here, let's look at the chart of what's sold. And I break this down for you. As you can see, the top row there is pretty self-explanatory. You know, you can see what it is. Again, we've got the original list price, and then the closed price. And then you see, you know what? I didn't get the difference in there on those. Okay, well, this week we just don't have the difference in there, okay? But you can figure it out. Sold price per square foot, days on the market, buyer financing, you know, and this, of course, these were all in Jacksonville. There's a zip code. Living area is your square footage. The year built is obvious. Then we break it down by bedrooms total, bathrooms total, and which bathrooms, how many were full and how many were half. And if the agent put in the size of the lot in acres, I do show it here. And then over here, whether it was new construction or not, that's Y or N. So you'd be interested in something to buy in that area, and these are the homes that are for sale, and there's quite a few of them. So again, you see at the top, what everything stands for there, what's for sale. If you're interested in buying one of these or interested in more information and taking a look at them, maybe scheduling a showing or something, you see something, then you just give that number you see on the screen there a call, and we'll set you up. I'm going to scroll through this, and again, like I said, you can stop this video if you want to pause and look at it, or you can download the Excel spreadsheet, because this is included in that Excel spreadsheet. Okay, next I'm quickly going to go look at the condominium numbers, and again, if you're not interested in condominiums, you can skip this right into the next section that we've got. It's basically kind of the same format for the most part. So you can see it right here. And then we're in week 52. Okay, so this is our first year. Next week is going to start season 2. How about that, of the condos? I can't believe I've been doing it that long. The condos. All right. This is the regular numbers that you see there. Of course, starting at the top, that is their listings. Then the sold is the second one. How did people pay for those condominiums? That data is right here. And again, the numbers below represent the actual units. Also look at the foreclosure numbers on the condominiums, and there you see those. And they stayed the same, so it's probably the same ones, nothing added or depleted. All right, here I do also the condominiums that sold. I show sold under list, at list, and above list, and then also the numbers below represent the units. Also break down the categories for the condominiums too, as you can see there. And you see that the biggest one right now is that under 200,000, okay? And then there is the breakdown below in the numbers per the units. This week we actually had one unit sell new, and you can see there it sold at list price. For those of you that are into the condominiums, you're all pretty much aware of the new law, and so that's why I have these showing the total stories. That's total stories is of the complex, not the individual unit. So we show how many sold at those particular complex stories. So right there, to give you an idea, the first one, there were 4 units sold that were 1 story, 17 were 2 story, 8 and 3 story, and so on. And you can see that's where the numbers are, in total 34. And because the condominiums also look at the year that they were built, let's spread this out a little bit there so it's easier to read. All right, we can see the first one, it was built in 1975, it was a 1 story. The next one was built in 1966, it was a 1 story, and so on. I'll scroll this down too. This is the counties that those condominiums were sold in. And I also do the same thing here with the list, the original list, list price, close price, and the difference, and how they paid for it, cash or financing, and the days on the market. And I will scroll this one down so that you can get the rest of those numbers. Hey, as always, every week, if you like the way I put this show together, you like this format here where I show you the real numbers, then just give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to subscribe and be a part of Bubble Watch Nation, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay, we do this every week, every Friday night at 6:30. All right, now I'm going to get into what is called MLS Advantage. And a lot of you already know that who are regulars to the show. MLS Advantage is where I look at the whole 9-county area up here. Now, some people say there's 7, I say there's 9. There's these smaller MLS boards, and they all cross-sell into these other counties. So to get the big picture of the sales data, I look at what is called MLS Advantage that includes all these other smaller boards, because my MLS is Northeast Florida MLS. That's the largest one. That's where the bulk of the sales comes from. Okay, so we're going to put that together. Then I break it down by county and show you the sales by county up here in this area. So let's go to MLS Advantage, and then we'll look at those counties. All right, here we are into MLS Advantage, the back end part of my regular MLS. And here we look at the 9 counties: Baker, Union, Clay, Duval, Flagler, Bradford, Nassau, St. Johns, and Putnam. We go over here and we hit the search button, and it brings us to 684 properties. All right, now when we put that into the counties, then we're going to see there that Baker had 3, Union zipped out, Bradford had 4, Clay came up with 56, Nassau had 70, Duval 248, St. John's 160, Flagler 123, Putnam 20 for the total of 684, and that's a pretty good jump, okay? So we've been seeing that sales go up. So we haven't seen these numbers in a while. Actually, let me scroll back, 684. Okay, all the way back to week 29, okay, of the season 3 that we saw 686, all right? Oh, no, sorry, blew right by week 34 where we had 698, almost 700. All right, now let's get to that main headline there that I talked about the property taxes. And just a reminder, I am a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida. Anywhere in Florida, I can help with you buying or selling a home. I do work with a select group of real estate agents up here in the Northeast Florida area. So particularly up here, if you don't have an agent or you just want to throw us in the mix and interview us with others, then give us a call at this number that you see here. All right, let's get to it. Property taxes in Florida. This has been going on for a while where they've been trying to get rid of them. So first, let's check out these headlines. Okay, here we are. Florida legislature considers launching study to determine the feasibility of ending property taxes. Yes, okay. As we look in here, we see that the Florida legislature is now considering a bill that seeks to begin the process that could result in the elimination of the state's property taxes. Fort Myers Beach Talk reports that State Senator Jonathan Martin, Republican from Fort Myers, has introduced a bill that would require the Office of Economic and Demographic Research to study the possible impact of dropping property taxes and replacing them with budget reductions and a sales tax increase. Martin's bill would require the study to be submitted to the legislature by October 1st. If the study is positive, the legislature could then begin to plan for a state referendum that would be held as early as November 2026. I would rather see it November 2025. All right, so what does Governor DeSantis have to say about this? Florida Governor DeSantis voices his support for eliminating property taxes. Right here, he said DeSantis made his position known through a response on X, who stated property taxes should not be charged based on assumed value for new construction homes. DeSantis responded, I agree, and then answered another X user who asked that the state needed to eliminate property taxes. Property taxes are local, not state, DeSantis wrote in his X response. So we need to do a constitutional amendment which requires 60% of the voters to approve to eliminate them, which I would support, or even to reform and lower them. DeSantis added that we should put the boldest amendment on the ballot that has a chance of getting that 60%. I agree that taxing land or property is the most oppressive and ineffective form of taxation. And that is from Governor DeSantis. Like I said, this has been going on for a while, and now many of you may not realize this. A lot of you probably know who Marco Rubio is. I mean, because he's gotten some national attention running for president, and now he's, Secretary of State. But long before that, back around, I think it was 2007, let's see, we'll throw up one of these articles here to see if I'm correct. He was a state rep here in Florida, and he pushed to try to eliminate property taxes, because it's just not fair that you buy something, you own it, it's where you live, or you pass it down to your family, but you're basically just renting it from the government, the space, right, or the whole house. So his proposal was to start to increase the sales tax. So gradually reduce property taxes while gradually raising sales taxes, and eliminate property taxes altogether. Just never got enough support, never went anywhere, through the state, and so it died out. Then a local representative here in actually Keystone Heights area in Clay County, okay, tried to get it also. He tried to pick up the baton and run it through too. Back I think around maybe 2015 or 16, something like that. Couldn't get any support through the state. I talked to him about it. Couldn't get any support, Now it's ramping up again to where they may put it on the ballot this November. Yeah, they've made some increases in our homestead exemption. We do have the Save Our Homes Act, but you still are beholden to that property tax, and if you don't pay it, you could lose your home where you live. So this has been going on for a while. It's picking up steam. Is it going to happen? And I'll tell you what, if Florida does pass that, where there's no property taxes and they get revenue from other streams, watch what happens to real estate. Can you imagine how many people would want to live here then if there's no property taxes? Hey, okay, well, you know, this show right now is in the can. Until the next Bubble Watch, I'm out of here.